Hello and welcome to the DJ Force 10 In Conversation podcast, episode 154. This is another one of my DJ specials, so welcome Cutmaster Swift to the show today. Absolute damn legend in the turntablist community in England, and we find out like his history in this one. It's an absolute fantastic chat. I'm a massive fan. I got records of his that he released, like break records, battle records that he released back in the day, and yeah, it was absolutely great speaking to him. There's a bit of real life going on in the background in this episode, just to let you know, because I did catch him at his house late one evening, so we've got real life going on. So if you hear that or you hear my dog barking or whatever, that's what's going on, because it's late in the night. But no, I just want to give a shout out to all the DJs so far that I've had on the show. I'd DJ Rob Swift and Dilly last week. Absolutely fantastic show. Before that, I had Jesse Cage from the States. Again, fantastic. Check out First Match, his podcast. Absolutely brilliant. Released a new one actually yesterday, and it's Mickey James on this one, which I haven't actually listened to yet, but I will be doing shortly after recording this. So yeah, and before that, sorry, DJ Rasp and DJ Woody, both fantastic DJs, both fantastic conversations, and including this one. And I've got another great one next week, and hopefully I'm going to try and continue this every Friday, or at least every other Friday, with a DJ special of some kind. I'm reaching out to a lot of the people that I used to watch and listen to and admire, and some new guys as well, trying to get some of those on, get their perspective on where they came from, because I'm sort of chatting to all the old school heads at the moment. And wouldn't mind hearing the voices of the new ones. So I am reaching out to these guys and trying to get more DJs on here, because that's what I want to do, and more DJs from the different worlds of DJ, not just turntablists. Obviously, I had Jesse Cage on a couple of weeks ago with radio. It was kind of like his US radio, rock radio, and general top 40 radio sort of stuff we had on there. And I'm reaching out to like club DJs. I'm reaching out to other radio DJs. I'm reaching out to all kind of manner of DJs that have a history within the industry and have some, maybe some good tips to sort of pass on. But it's always good getting their sort of like origin story and how that sort of came to be and all that kind of stuff, which is what I really like about this particular show as well. We really did get to the bottom of where he came from and where he's at now. So without much further ado, I present to you Cutmaster Swift. Enjoy. I'd like to welcome to my show this week, I have a very special guest. I have Cutmaster Swift. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
Absolutely my pleasure, man. Absolutely my pleasure. Welcome to the show, first and foremost. And I've been a long time fan of yours, I think I should say. I'm going to kiss your ass for a little bit now.
Not that long time. I'm not that old. Not that prehistoric.
Well, we can go back as far as probably late 90s, I think, with this one.
Okay.
Maybe mid 90s. No, mid 90s, I think it was. I was a little mini scratch DJ at like 15, 16.
Yeah, and look at you showing off.
Yeah, I know. Wasn't very good. Still not very good. I was basically like watching DMC videos and seeing you perform. I've even still got a couple of your Battle Breaks records.
Oh yeah. There's a few of them around.
They are crackling and popping all over the place.
Good. That's what they're supposed to be like.
Yeah,
that's a well-trained DJ there, then. That
is, yeah, and it's all chipping on the edges, stickers all over it, pen all over it. But no, I got all that sort of stuff, and then I got to see you perform a couple of times in person at the BPM show when it was at the big arena one. And then back in 2017, because I moved out of the country, and then I came back, and I went to BPM that year. It was the last year they had it at the big arena in Birmingham. And you and Rasp were doing DJ Rasp was doing a masterclass type
question
thing.
And answer thing. Yeah. One of the domes, or if you want to call it that.
Yeah, those weird tent things. But you guys were like doing stuff, and then you asked for volunteers to come up, and my hand just shut up for some reason. It's not something I'd normally do. And I ended up joining you guys on the stage.
It's a small world.
I know. But joining you for a little scratch, which was great. And I shared that story with DJ Rasp as well a couple of weeks ago when I chatted to him. So it's cool. It's kind of coming around and, and sort of doing this. But no, I just want to say I was a long time fan. Like I said, I've still got these records and I still use them today. I mean, they are battered, but I've got little home sets that I do and stuff like that. And
you're a vinyl purist then. You haven't bitten into the DVS realm yet.
Oh no, I have got DVS as well. Okay. I love my vinyl.
A compromise, isn't it? Good compromise.
It is. I've still got my 1210s. They're set up. They're actually right next to me right now, and I'm on them pretty much every day.
Good.
But I use a combination of battle vinyl, like the ones I've got of yours, and I've got a couple of Qbert ones, a couple of DJ Swamp ones, Richie Rough Tone, stuff like that.
You're doing good.
Yeah. They're expensive, but it's the needles that I worry about. You see, because they don't make the Shores anymore. So
yeah, something we've all had to face.
Yeah, I mean, I've swapped to Tonar ones, which aren't too bad. So they're about half the price of what the Shores were, and they're about half as good. So, but they do for now. But I've also got Phase and Tractor. So
okay.
I kind of.
You're not short then of a bob or two.
Well, the credit card.
Or you blagged.
No, the credit card was nice to me that day.
Don't let the missus know.
No, she doesn't listen to this. It's fine. She's going to listen to this one now. I know it. But no, it was it was a purchase I made a couple of years, or say a year and a half ago, for the Phase. That is, I've had Tractor for.
What made you try Phase then? What, you just take an instant liking to it, or you just that could be very handy? It was
a combination of both. I had a go with it at one of the trade shows. The one actually at the Newbury Racecourse with DJ Kip.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yep.
That's the last one I think we've all done, isn't it?
I think it was. I was doing I was with the Portabilist crew there.
Yeah.
With a little
I saw all you guys jamming away and I was invited and I said, I'd love to, but I was stuck in the corner and we were broadcasting as well as having a stand and believe it or not, my duties at DMC go a lot beyond just being a scratch DJ, which a lot of people just seem to don't acknowledge, But hey, there you go.
No, we'll get onto that. I know you'll be working for those as well. So, but yeah, no, I know you guys were right down the other side of the arena, weren't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We were down in the corner. Yeah,
and
the demo bar.
Yeah, and I saw like a Phase there, and I was like, this could be really useful. So I hadn't bought anything DJ related for a while, like hardware wise.
Wow, you're disciplined.
Yes. Yeah, well, very tight leash. And but this was my day out, you see. So and I decided to treat myself with Phase, and I've been really happy with them, to be honest with you. I've used them for like DJ sets, and I've used them for scratch like routines and stuff. And bar the sort of like minor sort of like drift issues they're still having, they've been totally solid. Like battery wise and all the kind of other stuff that people were worried about. But no, I mean,
does it feel a bit weird not having no interaction with the tone arm? I've never used them. I've only seen people like Jazzy Jeff use them, and everyone I've seen use them have highly rated them, and I just think it's so amazing how technology is just now so progressive, and leading the way as such. It's encouraging DJs, and I'm not scared of technology. I never have been, because I believe if you understand the equipment, you can always take it to your advantage. Yeah, and do new. I look at new things as new challenges. I don't look at it as a lazy way of saying, right, I don't have to carry any. I don't have to know my records anymore. No more. I can fit everything on a USB stick. Which is impossible. You're only limited by the knowledge you have.
No, totally. And I DJ with USB sticks. I DJ a rock club, so in where I live, and they've got like a couple of CDJs set up, and rather than take sort of like my CDs with me, I've got USB sticks that just plonk right in there, and I've got everything that I need on them. So when you're DJing something like that, generally you don't need the complete interaction with the waveform, if you will, but you just need to know knowledge of what you're playing. That's all.
Well, knowledge of what you're playing and the appropriate type of venue it is that you're playing to. Yeah, because I rarely take turntables out because there's no need now. Everyone knows what the requirements are.
Yeah.
So, I do mainly insist on Technics because that's what I've got and that's what I use. But I'll quite happily use the Vestax, even though they're not around anymore. I haven't messed around with the Pioneers. But as far as I'm concerned with turntables, they only have to do two things. And that's have a good talk start and not skip. The rest it's just down to your skill level.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it.
And I think, where I was very hesitant when the CDJ things came on. And I was encouraged to try it. And when I tried, I went, wow, can't believe it. This really does feel right. It sounds right as well. And I was quite impressed. And since then, with the whole DBS thing, when it first took off, I don't know if people actually remember the unit called Final Scratch, which was by Stanton.
I've got one on my shelf in front of me right now.
There you go. And it was on a Linux system, if you remember. It wasn't Windows.
Yep.
It wasn't Mac. It was Linux.
Yep.
And I took a chance and I invested in it because I could see the benefits of... Back in the days, you was always limited to what you had in your crate.
Yeah.
So you had to pick that stuff very selectively. And as you know, DJs like myself have to walk around with 2 copies. So you're even got more of a collection.
Yeah.
So it really relied on my manipulation of the music I picked out to carry me for the 2 hours spot, maximum spot.
Yeah.
I would have ever had to play at. And, one time I got on the plane, and when I got off that plane, my records weren't there. And I just said, that's never happening to me again. It's, that really annoyed me a lot.
Yeah.
I wasn't even compensated by the airline. Fortunately enough, the promoter was cool enough, and the DJ who let me use his records was obviously a bit flattered that I used his records. But Jesus, man, your records are part of again an extension of you.
Yeah.
So the records weren't marked the way I would mark them, and again I had to be aware that I could be abusing people's vinyl because this is vinyl times, and as you know, records get worn out. I like I said, I'm very adaptable to technology. I look at it as just a further challenge and a further extension of what's possible.
Yeah, no, same here. Like I was an early adopter of Final Scratch. Like I said, I've got the box in front of me. It was version 1.1, which was the one after the first one. Yeah. With the hockey puck sound card and all that kind of stuff. And then I bought. I think it was probably about 10 years ago or so. No, I stayed with Tractor.
The Tractor then came in the thing, didn't they? Really?
They did. I got Tractor Scratch Pro with the Audio 8, which is still working now. That's what I've got set up with my system here. Because I've got 2 turntables, basic 2-channel mixer. And I've got a lot of cables hanging around. That's the only downfall of this setup. There's a lot of cables. One day You're
doing well then.
Oh yeah, no, I've not jumped onto every sort of DVS mixer or anything like that, although they would be nice. But it's just sort of I've sort of adopted little bits of technology here and there rather than sort of jumping. I picked up Dices, and I got back in the day I used to I got the Vestax CD players, these CDX05s and little platters on them and stuff. But they got this little attachment called the TTM1 that you'd put on the edge of your turntable, and it had a wheel that you'd put on your vinyl, and then you could manipulate your vinyl and it would manipulate that CD. So you'd be scratching back and forth and it would scratch a CD. So it was like a primitive...
Very inventive Vestax were.
Yeah, it was that was actually made by Tascam, the adapter.
Okay.
Weirdly enough. But yeah, no, it's a funky little thing that I've still got now. It still works. I just saw that as a sort of a real primitive phase. So it was like the old mouse with the ball in it and stuff.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it's like. So, but no, it's quite cool. Some little bits of technology here and there, and the turntables have remained. That's the only thing that hasn't changed really. When I got a Vestax turntable as well, but that was purely for touring with. But no, it's just the main core of it was the Technics. So that is all. It is all good. And right now it's you can obviously your MacBook and everything. And what I want to do, man, if you don't mind, is sort of go back, sort of get your origin story, if you will, of how you got into this crazy business they call DJ. because that's the sort of nature of the show that I'm running at the moment. Like I said, I was chatting to a few guys already, and I just want to sort of like get to know where you came from, and because obviously you got to the sort of like upper echelon DMC world champion, stuff like that. I just want to know, you know, kind of where it started and how you got to that point.
Right. Well, pretty much. My parents are Jamaican, and music was always around in the house, really, as far as I could ever remember. But my dad, who was a carpenter at the time, he actually built a sound system with his other carpenter friend, and they actually formed a little sound system called B&M Hi-Fi, and they were doing like a lot of parties for nurses. My mum was a nurse, and just little house parties, because that's what they had back in the day. When I really acknowledged what was going on, all I remember is my dad just building his own speaker cases, wiring valve amps and stuff like that, and that stuff just used to fascinate me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much my dad just giving me his old records and starting me off with what we call a gramophone. If you imagine what a gramophone is to people who don't know, that's a very old word. It's not the wind-up thing that you see in the museums. It was pretty much a system that had a radio and a platter that could stack 7 inches, and they will fall one by one down and play automatically. It was that kind of thing, and that's what my dad gave me. I've got a picture somewhere. I've got to find it one day when I'm like DJing in his lap.
Nice.
About maybe 5, something like that, age. And pretty much it was just that's what spurred my interest, music and electronics. It wasn't only when hip hop initially hit the UK and caught my attention, because there was always things on late at night, like the little Soul Train and that. These were not peak hour TV.
Yeah.
It was late at night TV, and you literally had to sneak in to see these things and catch them. And there wasn't really anything on the radio, because radio again was quite limited. But all I remember is that the media caught onto the New York scene, which was breakdancing, pretty much. That grabbed the attention of everybody.
Yeah.
You just saw these acrobatic kids doing these crazy moves and spinning or whatever. And it was a Malcolm McLaren video that really sparked my initiation to want to investigate what was later to become knowledge to me as hip-hop.
Cool.
You know?
Yeah.
And the video incorporated everything. It incorporated the Rocksteady Crew, a well-established b-boy outfit with a female.
Yep.
And they also had the world-famous Supreme Team, who actually emceeing on the track, and they also scratched on the track.
Oh.
And it was literally them scratching this 7-inch record, and you just heard the wah, 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 wah. And it was like, wow, this is amazing. So from that, pretty much, I went. You literally had. You remember, there's no internet, there's no Google.
Yep.
Everything you found out, you either found out by Chinese tales or people telling you stuff, or hearing stuff, or someone knowing someone. That's how you found out stuff back in the days.
Yeah.
And literally, it was Grandmaster's Flashes, Adventures of the Wheels of Steel, that really opened my mind up to hip-hop DJing, which is scratch mixing.
Yeah.
There was no video of what I heard, but I visioned what he was doing, and I recognized the records, because they were records my parents had, like Cheap Good Times. And obviously there was a lot of vocals being thrown in and thrown out. So by acknowledging what Flash did to that record, and at that time, if you remember, I had a very basic system.
Yeah.
I literally worked out from stories and things you just heard about the records that he was using. I thought, how can I get involved in this? And literally, I took to my mum's hi-fi system. Is now we're moved from gramophones to hi-fi. This is like early 80s.
Yep.
Very early 80s. Literally, I started using the pause button to extend the groove of what was going on. Because this I didn't know about crossfaders. I only saw what I saw on Buffalo Girls, which was a very limited look. And back then they didn't have a video recorder, so you saw things when it came on the TV, whenever it did. But from pause button mixing, I then started finding out about pirate radio stations like LWR, Invicta. There's quite a few others I can't remember, so I apologise for that. I've got the tapes somewhere. And who plays tapes? What are those? But through the radio and pirate radio, when we're talking about pirate radio in blocks of flats and with limited ranges of where they could broadcast, you found out about the movement, you found out about mixes, you found out about events. You just found out. Yeah. Now you got to remember again, I was still in my teens. What I managed to do by collecting and recording everything that was on the radio, just everything that came out. And then you found out about record shops and record stores. You literally just went to record stores, and at that point, there was no really recollection of a club scene or anything, because, like I said, we're in our teens. Yeah. So, you wasn't old enough to go to clubs. Yep. But basically, eventually, I went to a community centre called Patmore Estate. I don't know how I found out about this night or club night, what was put on. And I met two people that literally informed me, that changed my direction of just being in my bedroom. I must also add, at that time, this is the early 80s, because Buffalo Girls came out roughly 82. Yeah. I picked up on the b-boying because of my brother. My brother picked up on it very, very quickly. So it was easier to try out breakdancing because all you needed was some floor space. But, again, at that time, there was no knowledge of equipment. But I knew music from my parents' collection and what I listened to the radio. Yeah. Anyway, going to this place called Patmore Estate, which is South London, Battersea. Yep. I met two people. One was a DJ by the name of Cosmic Jam, and one was a person that later on became a very inspirational and still very pivotal person in the scene called Rodney P. And they told me pretty much that, I was like, what, this is the first time I saw scratch mixing actually now being performed in front of my face, because at that time it was just radio mixes and TV. Yeah. Cosmic's equipment was obviously a lot more better than mine, although it wasn't the authentic 1200s as we know later become very knowledgeable on. And they told me, look, if you really want to see this in its entirety, you need to go to somewhere called Covent Garden. So I was like, Covent Garden, okay, yeah, I've heard of Covent Garden. That's where they do a lot of exhibitions and street buskers and stuff. So I went to Covent Garden, which I would say was roughly around 83. And when I went there, there was just loads of people like myself standing in amazement and watching people. Nice. And at that time, a UK crew by the name of Sidewalk were like the first real organised crew I saw to a performance level and getting media attention. Yeah. And they had a b-boy in there called Dobie D, and there he was, someone I saw on TV now in the flesh, looking dapper to the nines with all the track suit, and everything. And I literally was just flabbergasted by what I saw at Covent Garden, and went back when I got back home, I told my brother, I told my mates about it. And pretty much every other music influence prior to that got shelved overnight, because coming up at that time, I was pretty much listening to sound system tapes and little exposure you used to get on the radio from people like Rodigan, and they used to have sound clashes on played on his show, and he used to drop dub plates and stuff like that.
Nice.
And then there was a soul jazz scene, which again I was too young to go to the club, so I didn't really witness in its entirety. Although there was people that we knew that were older than us that were in those places, and they were showing us, certain moves, jazz moves and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're talking about boogie and all sorts of music then, but literally overnight, all those music, as great as they were shelved for this new movement called hip hop.
Nice.
So pretty much, I was down Covent Garden, and funny enough, I had the name Cutmaster Swift from then.
Okay.
But no one kind of twigged because I was a b-boy, and I got quite popular from a certain move called windmills that made people acknowledge me as a b-boy at the time.
Nice.
And I had this name Cutmaster Swift. A lot of people thought it was very long. And I was never really DJing until later on. What actually happened? Clubs started to form in the shape of a club called Spats, and that was a lunchtime event in Oxford Street, and it was initially started up by an MC group called the Family Quest, and DJ Fingers, who we might later have known, was in a group called the Syndicate. He was in another group called Mixmasters, I think it was, him and this other guy. I can never remember this other guy's name. So again, if you ever report this back, I apologise for not being knowledgeable in everyone's names. We're talking 30 plus years now.
I was going to say, it's a while ago, man. So it's all good.
It's a while ago, yeah. I could barely remember last week, let alone what's going on now. 30 years ago. But, yeah, and in Spats, it was a very small club, but it was a lunchtime event. Because, like I said, most of us are in our teens.
Yeah.
Westwood actually made an appearance there.
Okay.
He was on one of the pirate radio shows. I think it's LWR. And he used to play at Spats. I think he kind of took it over from the Family Quest. He'd advertise it on his show. And a lot of people started going there. And it was funny because you're just talking about originally, Covent Garden was like a neutral ground for south, east, west, and north people to go and just be present for whatever was going on.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was pretty much neutral. Obviously, some people had incidents, but I was one of the fortunate, for whatever reason. I somehow, like I said, because of my dancing skill and my knowledge of music, I was kind of cool with the DJs as well as the dancers.
Okay.
So
that's good.
That's how I kind of, made my path. And, sometimes West would have these little dance competitions, and I even one time won one, 50 quid at that time, which was quite a lot of money back then. But it was actually Spats. We used to go Spats, and then we used to go Covent Garden. But it was at Spats where I met up with a DJ that Westwood invited to mix on his show. He asked for DJs to send in mixtapes and whatever. So, if you got some skills, send some in. And this guy, by the name of Imperial Mixer, actually reproduced a part performance of a set by Grand Mixer DST, was known at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, how's he able to do that so accurately and, perfect almost like. So, of the original. And I met him at Spats. And I was surprised to find out that this guy lived pretty much not too far from here. I lived near Battersea Park, and he lived more going up towards Clapham Junction. It's all South London still.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. At this time, you didn't know of anyone in your area as such. There was no advertisement like, I'm the baddest DJ in the area. And there weren't no block parties as such to meet people. So we all met in the same area, Spats or Common Garden. So upon meeting Imperial Mixer, and again talking to him and him knowing me as a B-boy, I somehow convinced him, me and this other guy, by the way, I forgot to mention him, he's very important, called Robert Fujor. He's actually a drummer, professional drummer. He's drummed Courtney Pine and that. But at that time, he was still drumming. But he also had an interest in music. And he was the first person I saw with a Technics SL1200. And I had nothing. You know, I had some BS belt-driven disco Gerard turntables, and I had a mixer by Phonic, which was a quite prolific brand at that time. It didn't have no monitoring. It didn't even have a power supply. And I built all these bits into it. I built my own monitoring in it. I went to Edgware Road and bought a little preamp kit and worked out how to wire this thing in because, like I said, I had interest in electronics. Yeah. But when I met these guys were a step above me just by equipment. You know? Yeah. So I was like, I need to be down with these guys because these guys know what, know what have got the tools and they know this, they got a better skill set than me. And because we collectively bonded together in that capacity and I knew my new music and I knew what we called later to become break beats. Yep. I could, because I had my knowledge of that. When we teamed up together, the Imperial Mixers was formed. And basically there was a 4-man team. It was me, Cutmaster Swift, Robbie Wiz, Robert Folger, Imperial P, the Imperial Mixer, and his brother, Cutting K. Nice. And also Robert knew of 2 females that were interested in rapping. And we heard them rapping, and when we used to play out, they used to rap when we were playing out, and they said, yeah, you girls are good, man. You should become our DJs. And they were part of a girl, I won't call it gang, but a group of girls called the Warm Milk and Cookie Crew. Nice. And we was like, okay. Yeah, and it was about 8 of them or something. And it was Debbie and Susan, their names. And obviously, if you know about the Warm Milk and Cookie Crew, if you shorten that down, you've got 2 females who I said are rappers. It's quite obvious. They were the Cookie Crew. Yeah. They became the Cookie Crew. So they were our initial MCs, and they flattered me and Robbie extremely well because one of their first raps they wrote, they actually featured our names in their raps. And there was a little competition at the WAG Club that Westwood did in West End. Everything's West End based. Yep. And they won that competition. And, they did that rap with me and Robbie in it. And, everyone's like, whoa, when they heard our names, and because obviously they knew who we were as well. And, that's how I kind of got the hip-hop bug. And it was the Imperial Mixers that gave me the opportunity, shall I say, pursue DJ through using proper equipment, because Imperial Mixer had 2 SL1200s. Robbie had 1 and a Tandy mixer with a crossfader. Imperial Mixer had a Phonic mixer without a crossfader. It only had up and downs. Yeah. My mixer only had up and downs. So we put all this gear together and managed to make it work. Nice. And one of the things that got the Imperial Mixer's attention really was that Imperial's cousin went to the States, and we used to have mixtapes come back from the States, and Westwood used to play them as well. A DJ by the name of WizKid, Jazzy J, Bambaata's tapes, and all sorts of things. Yeah. And they were playing certain predominant breakbeats, like the Apache and the Champ and so forth. I Can't Stop by John Davis and the Monster Orchestra. And these records, obviously, there were old records that you'd be very lucky to find them. Or just even know what they were. Yeah. There was books starting to come out about hip hop, and used to hear, oh yeah, this is Grandmaster Flash's breakbeats list or something like that, and that's how we kind of collected breaks. But one thing about breaks became code names from either part of the phrase of the break you used to hear, or just DJs naming them code names anyway because they didn't want people to know their breaks.
Yeah, it's like covering the labels and stuff as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I kind of missed out an important part, is that Cookie Crew was so instrumental in helping me get my DJ groove on, because they Rocksteady Crew came over one time very early in the 80s, and they were dancing in Earl's Court Plaza. Is it Plaza? Yeah, Plaza. It's gone now. They've knocked the building down, turned it into a block of flats. But that's the original Plaza where everyone does their light shows and that. In Earl's Court, this was.
Yeah.
And literally, Panasonic sponsored Rocksteady Crew to come over, and they brought over a DJ by the name of Africa Islam. And the Cookie Crew went and saw them perform, and Africa Islam must have taken a liking to the Cookie Crew, and he gave them his slip mats and a breakbeat record.
Wow!
Which, this record was one of pinnacle break that he used to cut up back in the day. Yeah. I was like, wow, I'm really surprised. And the Cookie Crew gave it to us, and this record was Samba Soul by Samba. It's Masquerade Nava. I can't pronounce the bloody name of it. I should know it by heart because I put it on breakbeat albums as well. But it's by a group called Samba Soul. Cool. And it was a 12-inch, and the 12-inch is the one with the full break.
Yep.
And his one said not for sale. It was a promo they gave us. Just one copy, though. And they gave me slip mats. And the slip mats, I thought, I didn't know, but they must have been sponsored by a manufacturer or DJ shop called Squires back in the day. And these slip mats were really nice felt mats, really thin, really speedy, and nice design. And he gave it to them, and again, they gave them to us. And that just, you realise, wow, having a certain tool set change your DJ dynamics tremendously. So, but going back to the story I was going to tell you about, Imperial's cousin going to the States, he went to a record store called Music Factory. And this store had everything. Mm. And he picked up something that we didn't realize at the time called Octopus Breakbeats. Had an octopus on it with these legs sprawling out, holding records. And he picked up volume 1, volume 7, and volume 4.
Nice.
But he had quite a few volumes he picked up and gave us. And these volumes volume 7 had I Can't Stop. So we had that breakbeat. Volume 1 had Black Grass, another popular breakbeat for B-boys. He literally, and Amon Brother as well, by the Winstons. He literally gave us those records, and we had those records put Imperial Mixers on the map, because all of a sudden we had the breaks that that came to us on these overdubbed mixtapes, worn out, and you heard the clarity of the record and the entirety of the record. Mm. So we used to play everywhere. We used to play in quite a lot of b-boy things, and Westwood used to have us as these like backup DJs as such, and that's how Imperial Mixers became more popular, because Westwood would put on jams and there was Imperial Mixers cutting up these breaks. And when we showed those breaks to other DJs like Cosmic Jam, then they went and sent people to the States to go and pick up them copies of Ultimate Breakbeats. And some of them had different volumes that we had. And then what literally happened, because that gave us an advantage over most DJs, later on, Octopus Breakbeats, there was another breakbeats out as well called Paul Whitney Breakbeats, and they were like bootlegs. They were really bad quality records, and some had hits on them. It's like someone took some other DJ's records, pressed them on another record, and they were really low quality and everything. But they had a couple of beats on there, and it was pretty much Ultimate Breakbeats and Paul Whitney breaks. And if you had Paul Whitney breaks only, you was called a poor DJ. But if you had Ultimate Breakbeats, you was pretty much the man. And literally, it was those breaks that put us on the map, like I said. And literally, pretty much overnight, what changed my impression of being a real committing fully to scratch DJing, because at this time I still didn't have decks. We're going into mid 80s now, 85, and we was playing in Brixton, doing some kind of in a community centre or gym or YMCA, something like that. It was, it wasn't a club.
Yeah,
and we was playing them, cutting up rates, and Imperial got talking to some American guy, and he's going, yeah, I'm from Philadelphia, and I like what you guys are doing. You guys are nice what you're doing, but we've got a style that I've got a style that I think you'll appreciate. I was like, okay. So Imperial said, okay, look, here's my address. Come down to my house. You can tell this is the 80s, because you wouldn't just do that to a fair stranger.
No, you
nowadays,
wouldn't.
Would you? Come to my house and let's see what you can do. So they told me about this guy. I said, okay. I was one of the people. I must say this about me, and it stands true to today. When I'm on the turntables, I miss everything because I've got no vision. I've got blind vision. My vision is strictly on the decks. I'm focused on what I'm doing. I don't care if the Queen came by. I'm on my decks, I'm doing my thing. And nothing's pulling me off of those. I missed all this conversation, realistically. But I said, okay, let's go. This guy's coming over. So we was like, what's this Philadelphia guy going to show us? Because at that point, it was all about New York. New York DJs were our influences. Wizkid, Jazzy J, Red Alert, all those kind of DJs. That's the only DJs we heard about. So anyway, this guy turns up at Imperial's house, and the first thing he does, he goes, I want to change the deck positions. What do you mean you want to change the deck positions? He goes, well, the way we DJ, we have the turntable arm to the back and the decks to the side. We're like, okay. And as soon as he moved it in that dimension, which you probably have seen, everyone saw Cash Money introduce that style. Yeah. That's the style, with the decks, with the arm at the back and not on the right, which it was traditionally would have been.
Yeah, battle position.
If you notice in my set, in my DMC, that's what they later become known as battle position. But if you notice me in the DMC competitions, I had always had my decks the traditional way. And the reason I pretty much kept it like that is because I always believed, 9 times out of 10 I'm going to see it that way, and if I'm going to hit the arm, because he explained why he's moving the decks that way so he won't hit the arm, then surely doesn't that mean I've just got to get better and not hit the arm? Why am I moving the old turntable just to accommodate me not hitting the arm? But anyway, this guy went by the name of Lightning Lee. And I've heard people say I've told them about Lightning Lee, and they said, don't you mean Lightning Rich? No, Lightning Lee, because he gave us a mixtape also, and it had that written on it. Got to find that tape one day.
Yeah.
Thank God I gave Pogo a copy, because he looks after his collection better than me. Anyway, this tape and what this guy did totally blew our minds. He was chirping, he was the first person I heard chirps from him. This is 1985. Yeah?
Yeah.
It was like 6 months, or at least 6 or 8 months before Cash Money released a bootleg record with Dr. Funkenstein called Scratching to the Funk. I don't know if you ever got that record or you ever heard it.
I have heard it, yes.
When that record came out with Cash Money, that changed the whole scratching, what everyone knew as scratching, because it was dynamics. Cash Money is an articulate scratcher. People listen to Cuba. That's how we perceive Cash Money, because he was dropping new sounds and new styles. He was the one who dropped slurs, and drags, and reversing the record back and so forth.
Yeah. And
most importantly, chirps. But it wasn't known as chirps at that time. We didn't even know a name for it. Anyway, back to Lightning Lee. He showed us that. And his dexterity was It was just unbelievable. And his speed and the clarity, he just left us blown away. And like I said, he left us a tape. And he goes to me, "You need to look out for two guys. One's by the name of Cash Money, and the other one is Jazzy Jeff." And we was like, okay. And literally, we just practiced the chirps and the scratches to get them down. And this is where things changed for me, because remember, up to this point, I never had no gear. And I was coming up to my 17th birthday. I was a good enough child, very chatterboxy, never got in trouble with the police and that. That's why I was a good enough child, yeah?
That's good.
But my mum said to me, "What do I want for my birthday?" And I said to her, I want one of these turntables. It's called the SL1200. This turntable was £200. It cost more than my mum's complete whole hi-fi with speakers and everything by Sharp,
Yeah.
But, she took out the credit card and she got it for me,
Got a lot of mums.
You gotta thank your mums, man. You gotta, family is family,
Oh, totally. I wouldn't have my turntables if it wasn't for my mum. So I like.
Yeah, exactly. And no matter how all any parent ever wants for their kids is to stay out of trouble and be, if they see you are passionate about something, regardless of where it can ever go. Because back in them days, you could say I wanted to be a DJ, and the only DJs people knew about was the DJs on the radio.
Yeah.
Club DJing wasn't even a reality. Weren't even going to. Started just about getting old enough to get into clubs. But I was still 17, so, and I was a small kid, so I couldn't fake it like I was like some of the other kids that were in my age group, and they look like men.
I mean, you got the old roller discos back then and stuff as well. So.
yeah. I mean, in all honesty, the only time I actually went to certain jams where adults were around was when there were park sound clashes, and they used to happen. Because I was from Battersea, up in Clapham Junction, you'd have sound clashes up there. I can't remember the bloody places now. I'm so embarrassed I can't remember them. That's why I always keep told to write a book, and I never do. I can't remember anything. But literally, there were sound systems, and they would come to Battersea Park and they'd play there when it was summer holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
So you get a permit to play at park jams. But I got this turntable, and then I just religiously practiced with it. I had one SL1200, one, what other turntable? I can't remember. JV's. I got an SL1700 second hand. Had the same looking platter, and they had the pitch control, but the pitch control was a knob, and the speed select was a knob, and the power button was a knob. And it wasn't a knob like on the 1200; it was a different type.
Yeah,
you can Google it. SL1700. Kind of looked like, I've seen some Americans have them kind of turntables, and literally to make it work, you had to have great slip mats. Remember I told you about the Cookie Crew giving me great slip mats, and we used to cut the plastic of the vinyl records, which the plastic bag that some vinyl records used to be in, and put that on the plastic to make it work. Yeah, to make it even spin even quicker. Some people used to even cut cardboard to do that as well. We used to really have a lot of, I'll call it cake layers, the amount of things you used to have just to make the record spin sufficiently.
Yes.
When I originally started DJing, I was right-handed, so I had my SL1200 on my right hand and the other turntable on the left, and literally that was just for always back cueing and playing the beat, and the right hand, scratching away. And I used to go to a lot of second-hand stores, digging records and breaks, because that's where you found that the records were, and they were always cheap back in the them days because no one knew about the art form as such.
Yep.
Everyone got clued up quite a lot later, mainly around the late 80s, going into the early 90s, when people really started getting clued up, and record shops started importing breakbeats as well.
Yep.
And they then changed multiple breakbeats to street beat records. But anyway, I was lucky one time. I went to Record and Tape Exchange, and they had a second-hand hi-fi part, and I saw an SL 120. This was a turntable that was exactly like the 1200, but it didn't have the arm. You could put your own audiophile arm on it, and mine had a SME arm.
Yeah.
They're the really fancy ones with the string and the counterweight on it and stuff.
Yeah.
They're not built for scratching.
No.
They're for playing records. But the SL 120 was an SL 1200, like I said, but without the arm. So I bought that for £80.
Nice.
I regret selling it. I sold it eventually, but I don't know. I got a picture of one, but yeah. I've got a video of me actually DJing with it, which I'll should dig out one day. But that when I got that turntable, I knew now I didn't have to rely. I was self-sufficient. I didn't have to rely on Imperial being in or accommodating me, making noise in his room and his mum, so forth, and Robbie being around as well. So pretty much I just practiced and practiced. What literally happened, because a lot of the DJs that are getting big at that time were coming up as well. Cosmic Jam was very popular. And there was more scratch DJs turning out. Streets Ahead from West London was very big in breaks. And there was Quick Cut J, very big in breaks, East London. So between them three guys and us, we kind of had quite a good monopoly run on the DJing scene for a while as underground hip-hop purist DJs. Because I must add, prior to me having decks, Mastermind Roadshow was a major influence. Because again, because I was too young to go to clubs, I could go to the carnival. And the carnival's where you see sound systems and where you see Mastermind. And that's Herbie and the full outfit. Now, two people became very influential to me because I met them and they were quite open and honest. And that's Dave DJ and Max LX. And they became DJs on Kiss much later on. But those guys, again, they brought Wizkid over and they used to put on nights. And, because I broke dance, I became quite popular and they knew of me and stuff and so forth. And I would always ask them, boy, what record's that you lot played? Oh, I like the way you played that record. Or I know that record you just played. Stuff like that. And I think one of them actually worked at Bluebird Records. Don't you remember Bluebird Records? It was a London store. Again, they started releasing some hip-hop records as well. They released a record called The Hip Hop Beat. I think it was produced by Mastermind, and they got Wizkid to feature on it. It had some British rappers, so that was a British rap American collab.
Nice.
And again, Max and Dave, I can't thank them guys much more because they looked out for me. And Bluebird Records had a deleted record section, and they literally had the Soul Searchers Salt of the Earth album, which is a very popular breakbeat back in the day, which was again you heard on the mixtapes called Ashley's Roach Clip. So it was, and they put copies aside for me and gave us and sold them to us. They also had a very popular British breakbeat by a group called Visage called Pleasure Boys. Wizkid used to cut that up a lot. And again, getting into breaks taught me about music. Don't stereotype music. Anything can have a break. Yeah. It will just come out of nowhere. The most obscure breaks always came out of nowhere and took you by shock. But literally what we used to do, we used to go to a lot of record shops, Price Busters in the West End, Cheapo. And these store guys started getting clued up because we were all buying the same records. I bought in Cheapo. Was it Price Busters? Price Busters, sorry. Magic Disco Machine, Scratching. And they had loads of copies. And they were going for 99 pence.
Nice. That's amazing.
It's just almost a little pocket money and just spend it all on records because as far as I was concerned, it was on. Yeah. So, yeah, we still into breaks, still into thingy. But I literally started practicing up and the dynamics changed with Imperial mixers. I think Robbie got more into drumming to start taking up his drumming more professionally. Imperial Mix had joined a sound system called Main Attraction and started DJing for them. Because that, again, during the late 80s, the sound system guys changed their dynamics and started having scratch mixers in their crews. And Main Attraction, one of the guys who was in the group called Phil, he owned Red Records or managed Red Records in Brixton. So Imperial worked at Red Records and so forth, and it made sense. So I was pretty much on my own as such, DJing and just practicing by myself. And luckily for me, I teamed up with another guy from East London that I met at Covent and saw him around, who met him through Cosmic Jam, by the name of DJ Pogo. And, we just used to go digging together. He had a friend called DJ Light, DJ Partner, and we used to go to his house and have literally a lock-in. I lived at my mum's, Pogo lived at his mum, DJ Delight had his own place and a job. So we went to his house and we used to stay there all night and just scratch. And, because I had the edge through the Lightning Lead tape, I gave Pogo a copy of it eventually. I pretty much realised that, wait a minute, now I've got this style down and I'm kind of ahead of everybody. How am I going to stay ahead? I need to get new material. So I just kept practicing and literally just making things up as I used to go along, because every time Pogo saw me, I just literally had to show him something new that I had. He's like, "What? That's not on the tape." I said, "No, this is me." And pretty much by the time I had Chirps down, Jazzy Jeff dropped Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble. Cash Money had already dropped Scratching to the Funk. And, the whole DJing scene was pretty much picking up. There was just numbers of DJs around. Everyone was kind of a DJ. So you were to be a bit more secretive in what you was able to do and the music you had. And pretty much what actually happened, Westwood then got a job from Pirate Radio to Capital Radio, and he had big plans. He goes, it's about all of us. We're gonna, hip hop's gonna change now. And he goes to me, "Look, Swift, I can't pay you money for doing mixes for me, but I want you to do some mixes for me. But I'll give you promo records, every record I got, and pay you records." So I said to him, "Yeah, why not? I know you, Tim. Let's do it." So I went on Westwood, did a scratch mix, and the reach that Capital Radio had pretty much put me on the Underground Road map overnight.
Nice.
By just being ahead with styles and things. And I've actually got that first mix that I put up on my Mixcloud account that I played on Westwood, and Westwood was like, "Wow, Cutmaster Swift, brutal, illegal, and we're going to get Swift." Then he just started giving me challenges. He said, "Look, Swift, I've got 2 copies of this new American record, JVC's Force, Strong Island. Let's see what you can do with it." And I literally just cut it up I think I had not even a week with the record.
Yeah.
And I used to just cut it up. You should come into Capital, record me live, cutting it up in one. Had to do it in one take.
Yep.
Not a retake person. And that challenge alone and what I did to that record, Westwood was just blown away, and he goes, "Wow, Cutmaster Swift's got to be one of the best DJs in the country." And as soon as he said that, a lot of people started to really take note of what I was doing.
Nice.
So this was like 87.
Yeah.
And funny enough, in 87, the DMC competition wasn't even on my radar, but Imperial entered the DMC competition, and he said, it's more disco mixing and stuff. But what actually changed the dynamics in DMC to make a lot of us scratch DJs enter was DJ Cheese entering in 86 and winning the championships, because before then it was just like, DJs, what can you do on a pair of turntables, mixing wise and things like that. And what Cheese did when he entered the DMC, he just done pure scratching. he was cutting beats, he cut back on the records, and some DJs were like, "What is this? Is this a mixing competition or is it a scratching competition?" But obviously, from that, Chad Jackson followed after Cheese, and this was '87, and then there was another competition. The DMC was UK based, and there's a competition in the States called the New Music Seminar, and I used to collect tapes for that. Yeah. And that had Wizkid DJing, Africa Islam DJing, Jazzy J, all these hip hop DJs that you used to hear of competing in this competition, as well as MCs, established MCs like Melly Mel and so forth from Westwood used to play these. So what actually happened that in '88, Pogo decided, I'm not sure how he met DMC, but he done something, and when someone said, "Yeah, you need to see this guy DJ Pogo, DMC," and they said, "Okay, well, bring him round." So he went round their house. I think Chad Jackson was there as well, and Pogo showed them our style of DJing pretty much at that time, and they just couldn't believe what they were hearing. They just were, "Wow, you need to enter our competition. You know, you've heard of DJ Cheese, isn't it? You've seen what he win our championships and that." So Pogo goes, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, I'll enter the competition." And this was '88.
Yeah.
So Pogo told me he's going to enter the competition. I said, "Okay." I said, "All right, it'd be interesting to see the outcome from that," because Imperial entered the year before and he didn't win. I think he qualified, but that's about it. I don't even think he got in the top 3. But anyway, you know, friends of mine were going, "Wow, you know, Swifty, you need to enter as well." Like, nah, I'll miss this. I said, I'll watch and see what Pogo does, and if he comes out good from it, then I might enter next year. Pogo entered the, I think it was Alien Heat, and he won.
Nice.
And he got a jacket, the DMC classic jacket, leather arms. And it's a DMC regional, DMC Mixing Championship. So they used to give every first winner in the regional heats a jacket and record box and stuff. And one time, I think, I'm not sure what club we went to, but at this point, like I said, people say, "50, you need to enter, you should enter as well. You know, what Pogo don't win, maybe you can win." But now I'll miss out. And I saw Pogo with his Technics jacket, man. I was like, Jesus. I think I'm going to enter, even just to win one of those.
Yeah,
I want to enter just for one of those. Now, I missed the London heat, obviously, and I had to go to Birmingham. And this guy by the name of Ricky Reynolds, who again was a very influential person, took me to Birmingham to enter that heat and said, "Look, I'll get you in the competition. You know, you need to enter. You need to enter." He kept bullying me about entering. I gave in and said, "Look, I'll enter. I just want the jacket now. I'm not even worried about anything else. I just want the jacket." So I entered that heat. And literally, in that heat, I had Scratch Professor, a little 14-year-old kid, very good DJ, entering that heat as well. And I was fortunate that I won that heat. And I got the jacket.
Nice.
Next thing you know, I'm in a competition. And I then find out later on that same competition, this is 1988 DMC Championships. And I did, you know, I was obviously I won 2 heats, because back in them days you had heats to bring you to get the numbers down to get you into the final.
Yeah.
And I won both those heats. And so only when I won the heat and I was going into the final, news started coming in from other DMC branches, because DMC was a world competition, that Cash Money had entered the DMC. What? What? Cash Money? You know, and you know, Cash Money was pretty much the man up to that year.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, I can't believe I'm in a competition with Cash Money. I just didn't feel worthy. Anyway, I obviously won the UK final that year, and taught some new techniques like the copycat, a technique I pioneered.
Nice. Which
is what some people call chasing. Some echoes, scratches, which I kind of evolved from trying to transform. and some other little bits. And I met Cash Money during, I'm not sure it was. Was it the eliminations? Before the eliminations, we met at some store thing. And I was like, yeah, hi, Cash Money. You know, my name's Cutmaster Swift. You know, I heard about you from this guy called like Lee. Tell me about you. And Cash Money's like, yeah, thanks. Yeah, cool. And he's all calm. And I just wanted Cash Money to check my style of DJ because I knew I had something different. I wasn't even thinking about the competition stuff, you know. So we did the eliminations, and I came runner-up to Cash Money in that eliminations. And that's how you position the main Royal Albert Hall positions.
Yeah.
So that's why people should have realised I went on just before Cash Money, and then Cash Money was after. And that was the first time I was in the Royal Albert Hall, a place I never even imagined being in. Or actually, I didn't even think about weren't even impressed with the place, you know. And DJing opened my eyes up because I was quite, like I said, very limited vision and just ignorant to things that, what do I need to know about that country for? I'm never going to go there. DJ took me there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All things like that. You just don't realise. And in the Royal Albert Hall, amongst that amount of people,
crazy.
I literally realised, Jesus, I'm in the world competition. I'm representing the UK, and I lost. Although I knew what I was doing, I wasn't feeling what I was doing. I was just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And after that competition, I came fifth in that 88 competition. I thought, no, this isn't right. You know, I've got to redeem myself. I'm going back in 89, and I'm winning this thing. And funny enough, I did get Cash Money, didn't get to see my set as such because you only saw the last bit when they call you out. But prior to that, the same year, there was a event in Holland, a convention. Cash Money was top billing in that convention. I actually got the flyer, and my name was up on it as well.
Nice. And
I went there and I performed just before Cash Money, and someone's taped that event. They've got it on tape, and I think they've got it on video. It was videoed, and I appeal to anybody out there who's got a copy of this tape, because this tape, the only documentation I've got of how well I performed. Once at that place, the way I performed and I played, people went, that guy's the next world champion. They were just blown away. Even Cash Money was like, whoa, this guy isn't messing around. You know, he knew I had my own style. I dropped a copycat, I dropped needle dropping, I dropped so many different things to another level.
Yeah.
At that event. And DMC, I've only got it documented in writing where DMC goes, and Cutmaster Swift blew the house apart, you know, to a world champion performance level. That's what it was said.
Nice.
And DMC also sponsored me and Pogo that year. After the competition, we formed a touring team, and we went to Dublin, Belfast, and places like that where people never went because of the troubles they used to have. And we was one of the first people going in. The Irish welcomed us big time, so much so that, you know, people who were at that event always said to me, man, we are so grateful you guys came, because we weren't getting anything, only from what we saw on the TV. And you guys were the first people we saw come over here.
Nice.
You know, regardless of what we did. And they show us so much love.
Yeah.
When we went to our little tour and that. But DMC also sponsored us in the Ed Music Seminar competition, because they had a panel there, and they used to go to the music seminar and talk on the panel. And again, in that competition in 88, I dropped needle dropping. I did a bit of copycat, but no one knew what the hell I was doing. They just didn't pick up on it. But they picked up on the needle dropping because Grand Wizard Theodore, the inventor of scratching, also pioneered needle dropping to such a level.
Yeah.
And I reminded them of that. But I was doing it with 2 records and stuff, and doing these funny faces at the guy I battled. Because at first, when I actually went on the set, I had a bit of a technical problem. It's actually recorded, and you got Mike Allen playing it back. He played it on his show. How, me and Pogo went to New York to represent the UK. When I dropped the needle dropping, nobody could believe who's these UK guys doing stuff like this to this level. And Red Alert was like, "Whoa, man, you brought that back. All you need to do is keep doing that needle dropping stuff, and you'll win." I said, "No, you need to see this other style I've got, this other technique I've got." It didn't work out. So I came away from New Music Seminar, and it was such an experience, because there we were in the heart of New York with the b-boying amongst people that inspired us, and artists all right next beside us. Big Daddy Kane, Craig G, DJs, Johnny Juice, and who DJ'd on Public Enemy's track, and Rebel Out of Pause and stuff like that. All these DJs we would just see him. DJ Scratch won that year in '88, and we made up. And then in '89, I came back round to the World DMC Championships, and I decided, I'm going to defend the title. I think I was one of the first DJs to defend and successfully hold the title.
Nice.
And then obviously I came to the World, and then everyone was making noise about another American guy, DJ Aladdin.
Yep.
So, luckily I got some footage of Aladdin's performance in New York with the DMC. And I was like, okay, very nice. Yeah, good. Because there's no way to test the skill apart from seeing a DJ who's worthy. If your opponents ain't as skillful as you, then how can you test your skills really? So what people said, it's funny because there's always a debate about people saying that, Aladdin should have won. I didn't personally see it that way, because my style now is just such an established style. I see everybody doing it, doing what I did back then. And I don't see much people doing what Aladdin did. Not disrespecting Aladdin. He had the most funkiest scratches. He really did. But in fact, Aladdin kind of came to London a bit unprepared, because DJ Pogo loaned him some records.
Okay.
And you never really take other DJs' records to do a set with. It's just not your records. You don't know them well enough. Anything can go wrong with them. But anyway, what makes me laugh is that when people say to me, "Oh, Aladdin should have won the World Championships in '89," I'm like, you do realise that I didn't just beat Aladdin once, I beat him twice, because I went on last at the World Final. So I've even beat him in the eliminations. But no one doesn't seem to want to acknowledge that.
It's weird.
And you can see what I'm doing in eliminations is totally different. Again, a total different style and totally unexpected. In fact, I'm sure Aladdin checked me out, because I see him needle dropping as well after I dropped needle dropping a year prior in the New Music Seminar. And any time I see someone doing stuff that I already know I've got down, I've got enough confidence that, okay, I'm leading and not following. That's how I perceive things. But anyway, DJ, obviously I won the World Final in '89.
Yep.
And I thought, right, now I need to go back to New York and do what I was meant to do the year prior. Because the year before, we actually used a Ray mixer that was more of a club mixer, not a turntablist mixer. And why I say a turntablist mixer is because, if you know, Cash Money in '88 introduced the GLI MX 2200, I think it was. Or they rebranded it as 2200 and put Jazzy Jeff's name on it. But that mixer, it was a small compact mixer. And everybody thought, how's Cash Money doing all this stuff? I've got to get the same stuff as Cash Money. So everyone went out and bought these mixers. You know, we picked one up when we was out in New York, and we were surprised how cheap they were. And then DMC caught onto it and thought, right, we're going to import these mixers in, and we brought them over. And unfortunately, what a lot of people didn't realise, because they just bought them and plugged them in, the voltage was set wrong on them.
Yes.
It was 110, we're 220. So you instantly blew the fuse or the diodes inside of them. And because I knew electronics, DMC had a whole heap of these mixers returned to them, and they had them sitting on the shelf, and they weren't going to send them back to the States.
Yeah.
So I said to them, I'll fix them for you. And they just gave me a whole heap of them as well.
Nice.
And I had like a whole heap of these mixers, and I just replaced the diodes and got them working again. And I used some of them as spares to do crossfaders. So at one point, I was like servicing a lot of DJs mixers because they used to come to me. And we're talking about carbon faders, yeah? Not these VCA voltage control faders or optical faders that you've got now. We're talking about very infancy days, and I used to take the faders apart, and I used to brush them out and clean them out. And a lot of DJs back in the days, because of carbon faders, used to use stuff like WD-40 and Servicol to clean the faders, to keep them running, because, you know, carbon faders would leak, literally.
Yeah,
and those things would numb it.
Yeah, I've got an old Technics 1200 EX1200, I think it is, mixer. That thing bleeds quite a lot, so I've kind of like left it as a shelf antique at the moment.
This stuff looks good on the shelf.
It does, doesn't it?
But what actually happened with GLIs breaking down so much and their popularity, DMC decided to brand their own mixer.
Yeah.
And they got Milos, who were responsible for the GLI mixers, which were very popular in the early days, which are the world's famous Supreme T used, and all the popular hip-hop DJs was using this GLI mixer. That's what I used in 88 when I did my DMC set. I never had that mixer, but I was aware of it, and I did use it a couple of times when I used to DJ in certain places with Westwood.
Yeah.
So I was aware of its dimensions and how to use it. And I always believed if I was good enough, I'll be able to do whatever I could do on anything, not limit myself and go, no, I can't use that. That's not the mixer I've got. But anyway, DMC came to us and said, "What's so good about what mixers are Cash Money using again now? I've forgotten that. The Gemini mixer.
Oh yes,
the MX2 2200.
Yeah,
the one with the wooden sides. Yeah,
yeah.
And it had a crossfader in the middle. The left and right the turntables were in the channels, or up faders were in the middle, and on the left was the line channel, and on the right was a mic fader, literally, and then your cue and your mic mute. Yeah. It's a very simple mixer. So literally, they said, if you was to build a mixer, what would you want it to have? So I said, look, well, for first thing, it's got to be serviceable. So I said, look, you need to put a replaceable. You need to make sure we can change the crossfaders on that, because these faders, when they go, we need to be able to change them really quick. So we literally designed the DMC PMX2 from the image of the Gemini mixer.
Yeah.
But we made obviously some improvements on it, like replaceable crossfaders and stuff, And that mixer then became. I had the prototype at one point, and I was DJing with it, messing with it, testing that. I go, yep, that's fine. That, it can get it's ready, and pretty much we were the first people using that mixer. We took it on tour with us. Then DMC introduced it into the championships and encouraged everybody. Everybody started picking up that mixer because of its reliability, and it was easy to use. It was as easy to use as a Gemini, but obviously much of a better quality build because it was built by Milos, which was a Japanese company.
Yeah.
That mixer saved its time all the way up to 1991, 92, I think. Cuba and that used it in their when they won first time. Rock Raider used it in 1995 when he entered. And that mixer became the standard. Everybody who entered the DMC had done on those mixers and learned the craft on it.
Nice. So
that's pretty much my DJing career and the influencing things I did as a DJ as such. Apart from that, we did things, me and Pogo, like, and Business, and another guy called Mysterious K, and released records like, we released our own breakbeat album with School Beats back in the day. Obviously we had MCs and groups. I had a group called the No Parking. Pogo had Moni Love and MC Mello, and started recording.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my DJ.
No, that's
I know I've missed out quite a lot, but I don't want to bore people to death.
No,
they've been doing a lot of editing.
This is all good. No, I love this kind of stuff. Honestly, this is what my podcast was made for, to be honest with you. No, I love the long form stuff. So this has been absolutely fantastic for me, and absolutely fascinating as well, because it's like I kind of joined the sort of like scratch sort of like, I guess, like movement, if you will, scene or whatever, or whatever you want to call it, around sort of like 96, 97. So, and that's when I sort of started getting into it. I helped my brother, like, DJing's always been a thing. So my brother had a mobile DJ business. So we'd be doing like kids parties and weddings and roller discos and all that kind of stuff. We had a set of those Setronic, like, dual turntable things that like on springs. And,
that's what my Gerards were on. They were built into some little wood. I put them in wooden panels rather than a big DJ coffin.
No, it's exactly.
But they were springy.
They were really springy. And then eventually, because my mum saw, like, that I had a passion for this, she got me a set of like belt drive Gemini. I think the BL10s or something set up with a mixer, and then got the direct drive versions of those. I think they were like Gemini 2000s. And then when I was 21, I got the choice out of. She said, "Do you want driving lessons or do you want a set of Technics turntables?" I didn't learn to drive till I was like 26, and I've still got them. They're still going almost 20 years later, so I can't,
I know. They're built to last, mate. They're built to last.
Totally.
I know of very few people that killed Technics SLs. I'll be honest with you, I've killed mine, because as you probably know, I won the first gold SL 1200 turntable that DMC offered in their championships. In '89, and I killed it. Literally, if you saw the arm, I stripped it down for parts one time because my other turntables weren't working, and it went up in the loft when I moved house, and it wasn't boxed correctly, and it got faded gold, and it started peeling at one point when I was DJing with it. I don't look after things. That's why I had to learn to repair things. I just don't look after things. But equipment is there to be used, and you're right. It's admirable that you've retired certain stuff and you still got it, but you've retired it. So it's part of everything's got a story to it. I mean, I've got my original mixer and that, and they look rusted because, again, they went up in a loft and I didn't box them properly and stuff, and I can't throw that stuff away. I'm a hoarder. To tell the honest truth, I hoard for records and equipment.
It is difficult to throw away. It's like scratch records and stuff like that. I can't throw them away. Even if they're battered to hell. Like, I can't, because I can there's still samples on there that I can still use, or there's breaks on there I can still use, and they're not like, they're not completely gone yet, until it's just fuzz. I think that's when it's sort of like, then I'll make some kind of
hole in the record.
Then I'll make some kind of like ornament out of it, or a clock. But it's like But I can't get rid of that sort of stuff. But keep all those little bits, because there's no point selling it, because it is an antique of sorts.
It's memorabilia.
That's exactly it. It's part of my story. So. That's all cool. Well, I've got a couple of questions left for you, man, if that's all right, and then I can let you get off for a second. But these are my kind of like, I ask these questions to like everyone that I speak to on my show. So they're kind of more about, it's a little bit of your history, but it's kind of like winding it up to like, what I want to know are like 3 albums that were pivotal for you. So like the one that made you just want to, obviously like b-boy to start with, but made you want to be a DJ, made you want to do something. What are those 3 albums that really kind of shaped you?
Right, definitely Jimmy Castor's Just Begun. That album is like the holy b-boy anthem, and I was fortunate that on my 17th birthday, when I got my first SL 1200, I found a pristine copy, original RCA Lexi disc. Because the original, if you know about it, it's very, very flexible piece of vinyl. It's not a firm piece of vinyl, And that album, I cherished it. Then obviously I've got to go into Octopus Breakbeats, because they put us on Imperial Mixers on the map. And when I got my own copies, Corky Crew went to New York, and I managed to talk them into coming back with some copies for me, and they brought back different volumes that we never had as the Imperial Mixers group, and they were like repressed, so they were a different color label, because all the original volumes had a different color label. So Octopus Breakbeats really, again, they're my foundation records. And then pretty much it's always going back to breakbeats. It's got to be. I mean, initial hip hop records are always fantastic to have. Yeah. And there's too many. They're like children. You know, the more you have, you can't say you've got a favorite. Every one of them is a favorite at a different time, depending on how good well behaved they are, or just the mood you're in. So that's how I see my music. I can't. If I bought that record, I bought that record because I cherish it. Yeah. You know, I tend to find things that you are given. You tend, depending on on the circumstances of you receiving them, you tend to not cherish those records as much as records you actually remember where you was, how old you were, and what the reason you bought it. So my third record, I suppose I need to say it is a hip-hop record, really, because I've given two breaks. Let me think. What hip-hop record really changed things for me? Well, I've got to kind of go with the old-school records, really. Yeah. Whether it's the Message album by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, because I was buying records by the labels. So I was buying stuff on Sugar Bowl, I was buying stuff on Tommy Boy Records, and I was buying stuff on Enjoy. Those are the three record. I know it's a bit of a cheat, but those three record labels are the foundation of my hip hop. You know, obviously, I appreciate all the hip hop records that's come later with your Big Daddy Kane, your Tribe Called Quest, and your Diamond D, and Leaders of the New School, and everything else. But prior to that, I was into the earliest hip hop because that's all like there was. Yeah. So I bought Man Parish, hip hop, bebop. I pretty much bought everything that kind of came out in the early days because it didn't come out in an abundance, and you could kind of get it. Or you bought one record and your friend bought the other record, and you literally had those records between you. Yeah. So I hope I've clarified that. No, that's all good. The Message and Planet Rock. Planet Rock by the Soul Sonic Force, because that sound was a different sound, and the Message was more funkier. Yeah. And they were, and Sugar Hill had a band that would reproduce the breaks, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But the electronic sound of Planet Rock put the whole electro thing into a different atmosphere. It just took it to a total new level. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean those are all great. Like especially the break side of things. It's always useful for me because I always look for break records from back then. And see if I can still get them now. Yeah. But no, that's you probably get a repress, but you'd be lucky if you could. Unless someone sells them on eBay and they just charge you a ridiculous amount of money. Yeah, no. Because one of my philosophies on buying music, I never buy a record to not play it. Yeah, that's just defeats the object. Although, in all honesty, nowadays I still do collect vinyl, but I'll rotate them like how you just rotate tires on a car, if that makes sense. You know? Yes. I'll play it because that's the I've got it, but I'm not gonna take it to a club and play it because it's it's almost pointless to a certain extent, you know.
Yeah.
Unless it was something special that I really wanted to play at, you know. But yeah, that's how I kind of do it.
That's cool. Before I ask you this last question, actually, I just want to counter with another one. You said you were working. You do a lot of stuff for DMC still, the radio, the United DJs.
Yeah.
What do you do? I know you've got your own show. What else?
Well, I had a show on there.
You had a show,
but
sorry.
I pretty much ended. I engineer for a lot of people's shows. So
okay. So
I put together shows. I got into production, and like I said, I just try to become an avid person in music. So I learned about production. I released records back in the early days, and those skills still help me today. Keep my ear to the ground and in touch. I also author their DVDs. You know, I consult with DMC a lot about things they're going to do in the championships, and I obviously I'm on stage engineering. Yep. I've hosted the DMC championships. So, like I said, people think that I just go in the DMC and say, "Hi, Tony, check out this new scratch that's on the scene." I'm scratching at the DMC, like, go, "Oh wow, we're going to see that this year in the competition." Yeah, Tony, I'll teach you how to DJ. Like, it's not; it's a business. You know?
No, I kind of figured that because, like I said, when we were at the start, like with the BPM, you were on the DMC stand for all the every time I went there, and I was just curious as to how that incorporated with the radio station that Tony Prince launched. So, no, I was just curious on that front because I've got my own radio show as well, so I was just sort of like, see what we do. But I do for an internet show.
UDJ is still finding its ground. It's now coming into its third year. Yeah, we're still going as what they say, because radio is very hard, as you know.
It is,
and you know, I mean, their demographic is pretty much is bringing back the personality in DJing, because, as you know, everything's become automated. Yeah, and you know, the system we use is proof of that automation in effect. But you know, Tony Prince is a radio DJ originally at heart.
He is.
So it was one of his passions to get back into radio, and he's pulling it off so far.
No, that's really cool.
We've got a brilliant team, and so you know, but like I said, it's pretty much. I mean, these guys just putting their shows together, and I'm learning that if I want to know about breaks, I listen to them guys, because they'll tell me a record. I'm like, wow, okay, let's go for this. Oh God, that's got a break on it. Yeah, you know, I'll give you that one on the download. Didn't know that one. You know, and like I said, you just don't write off anybody.
Yeah.
In terms of breaks and music.
Yeah, definitely.
If it's funky, I'm playing it. I don't care who's playing.
No, that's really cool. I was just curious on the front. But my final question now, finally. Yeah. What are your hobbies away from DJing and music? If you have any away from that, because I know that's a silly question with people in music, but
it's very hard for me to actually have another hobby, because I enjoy music so much that, like I said, it's hard to pull me away from it, and I get frustrated now because I can't spend the time I used to. I used to spend 8 hours a day just around the turntables, 8 hours starting minimum. Yeah. Now I get in now and I'll just turn the turntable on and do a half an hour of scratching just to keep the sharpness, just to keep sharp. But you know, I haven't even got time now to even sit down and really plot out sets anymore, but I've still got them. I've still got ideas.
Yes.
And when I put together the DMC trailers and promo videos, I literally those are my sets, because I chop up the videos in a way, and I use the parts and fragments of everyone's set to tell a story of the championships in my own language, just as I would if I was using vinyl.
Yeah.
So that helps keep me to the ground. But it pretty much is really hard to spend the time I used to spend on turntables.
Yeah, no worries. No, that's all good. I kind of figured that. You sound like you're busy with it all, so it's all good. But thank you very much for your time on this. I really do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
It's been absolutely amazing speaking to you, because, like I say, I've been one of the DJs I've followed for ages, and this DJ series I'm running at the moment has been amazing, speaking to all these DJs. So, and to actually speak to you after.
Well, send us a link of your show.
I will.
Certainly send us a link of your past shows.
Yeah, no, I will do. Well, man, thank you again. I really appreciate it, and
pleasure, man.
Thank you. I mean, I know it's late, but thank you for the thing, and have a good rest of your evening. And I hope all you and your family are safe and everything.
I've got a show together right after this, actually.
Oh, okay.
I've got to edit a show after this, but yeah. No rest for the wicked.
No, none indeed. All right, cool, man. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Barnaby.
Thank you.
You too, mate. And thank you again. I look forward to hearing the show.
Excellent, man. Thank you.
All right, mate.
Bye-bye.
Keep up the good work.
I will do. Will do.
Peace.